In this video, we're going to install the DB12 onto the URSA Cine. This is the B-mount version, but the same process works for the V-mount and gold mount versions. If your camera comes with a power plate already installed, you'll want to remove that to expose the back. And if you remove a power plate from your camera, most likely this cover plate's already missing. So if you happen to get a camera with no power plate and this cover plate's on here, you'll use a 2mm Allen wrench and unscrew these 4 flathead screws. Once the cover plate is gone, you can see there is a Molex connector in here, and that is what we are going to connect to our DB12. But first, we have to separate a few of these layers in order to attach this securely to the camera. So what we'll do is use our 2mm Allen wrench, the same one, and we'll unscrew these 4 screws on the B-mount battery plate. Once those 4 screws are loose, we can take them out and we will save them to reinstall later. Now we have a separated B-mount plate, or gold or V, whichever one you have, and an in-between adapter which converts the core hole pattern into our DB12 hole pattern. And we'll use the same 2mm Allen wrench, and we will remove these 5 screws here. Once those 5 screws are removed, we can separate this plate from the main portion of our DB12. And this will slide down here. These 4 screws can be loosened with a 2.5mm Allen wrench, and we are almost there. The good news is you only have to do this one time. And these are captive screws, so we don't have to worry about losing them. This is what the final plate in the assembly looks like. And this Molex connector passes into this cavity here. You can unhook this USB here to make it a little bit easier. This USB is removable, so if you don't want to use the trigger functionality on the 3-pin fishers, you can actually separate the USB cable. So now we're going to connect this Molex through the hole of this last plate here into the camera body. So we'll just snap that in. The little tab here goes on the outside. There we go. Now we can align the holes of the plate with the back of the camera, and there are screws that are included. It's a 3mm by 5 socket screw, and we'll use our 2mm Allen wrench again. So once you tack one of these in place, this one here is a good place to start. Just get that snug, and now we'll be able to add the rest of the screws in the corresponding holes. Once the Molex and the 5 screws are installed, we can reattach our USB cable here, and then we will pass this through the rubber cable exit there, and just get it close to the correct distance to reach this USB on the camera body. We can adjust it a little bit later. I just want to have a nice loop in here, and maybe even go a little bit shorter, because at the end you can kind of pull this out if you need it to be a little bit longer. So we're going to have a little bit of excess in this cavity here before we close it up. Next, we're going to reinstall this middle portion of the DB12 using a 2.5mm Allen wrench. Once those 4 screws are tight, we will use our 2mm Allen wrench and reinstall the in-between plate here. I'll align that correctly. These capacitors kind of stick through there. Then we will use the 3x5 socket cap screws and tighten those into the middle portion of the DB12. Once those 5 screws are tight, we're ready to reinstall our power plate. Align that, add our 3mm socket cap screws, and use our same 2mm Allen wrench. Once the DB12 is on the back of the camera, we can move on to plugging in the USB on the side here. And to do that, we'll pop this cover off and attach the USB like that. It has to be this port. Unfortunately, it can't be the one that's close back here. For whatever reason, the camera needs that port to talk to the DB12. So this cable sticks up a little bit, and the good news is if you have our top plate, this offers a lot of protection for it. So we're going to install this top plate over the cable here. And again, we left a little bit of extra slack in there, and so if I need to pull this out a little bit, I can. And then we'll route the cable underneath our top plate edge here. Get that straight, and then we'll use a 4mm Allen wrench and tighten the top screws down. Once that's snug, we can look at our USB again here and just make sure the cable is looking good. Great. We also include a dust cover for our top plate and DB12 combination here, because this port is aligned vertically, so if any rain comes or dust or sand or whatever, we want to try and keep that out as best as we can. So there's a little slit here on the side. You can see that. And this slit lets you pass the cable bend through it. So we'll just wiggle that on down. And then it form fits to both the camera and our top plate, and then this little tail on our USB cover from the camera side can fit right in between, and we'll just tuck that in there. If you ever want to switch from B mount to V or gold, you can do that. Just email us and we will give you the details for just the power plate portion. Lastly, if you have a battery that's capable of 10 amps at 28 volts like this core B mount, other batteries also have higher amp ratings, you can set the battery capability here accordingly. So right now it ships in the 8 amp configuration, but we can just bump this up to 10 amps using a flathead or plastic spudger tool here. And now you'll get the 10 amps distributed to the camera and accessories.